Welcome to Founding Up's Uncharted, your sidekick for life, where we dive deep into the stories of changemakers, innovators, and trailblazers. In today's episode, Dan Dillard, Dr. Leon Vanstone, and myself, Natalie Payton, are thrilled to have SaulPaul as our special guest. A 3-time Grammy-nominated artist, entrepreneur, and founder of the SaulPaul Foundation. From overcoming unimaginable odds to inspiring change through his music and message, SaulPaul's journey is a testament to the power of resilience and purpose. Special thanks to our Gen Z contributors interviewed by Anais Schmidt and myself, including Gray, who shares his plan after college with a hope of including his passion for music, and William, who poses the question of where to start if you want to work in the music industry. Get ready for an inspiring conversation about mentorship, transformation, and the incredible impact one person can have on the world. Let's get started.
Well, welcome to Founding Up Uncharted, your sidekick for life. Season 2, episode 4. And we
Happened
have
so fast.
I'm looking forward to this conversation. This is we just met, but I've heard some really, really great things, and I'm looking forward. There's a lot of alignment in the work that you do and the work that we do.
Synergy.
And so I am just thrilled to, I think we all are just thrilled to have this conversation. Before we get started and introduce our special guest, let's go ahead and go through the rest of us and what we do. So we'll start with ladies first.
Hello, I am Natalie Payton. I am an actor, comedian, and podcast personality.
All right, and I'm Dr. Leon Vanstone, rocket scientist, storyteller, entrepreneur, and co-founder of Founding Up. I got in trouble last time. My not enthusiastic.
Did you say co-host as well?
Co-host. So this
I
is
don't
getting
say
longer,
I'm
man. These
co-host.
intros are going to take longer and longer.
Co-host, I run investor relations at Founding Up. I also do.
And I'm Dan Dillard, your host, and also co-founder of Founding Up, among other entrepreneurial ventures, and excited to be here and chatting about mentorship and Gen Z and how we can help and just have awesome discussions around that. So, and with us today is SaulPaul, and I'll let you talk about you.
I love it. What's up, world? It's your boy, SaulPaul, musician with the message, artist, entrepreneur, founder of SaulPaul Foundation and SaulPaul's Changewater, 3-time Grammy-nominated artist, 3-time TED Talker.
Nice.
Love it. So, you've done a few things. Just a little.
Life is short.
Right? Get it done.
Let's make the most of it while we're here and mentor others. That way we can leave a legacy.
Yeah. And I want to start there. Obviously, accomplished, done a lot currently, and that's what you're doing. But I want to start with what, let's just go back to when your time in high school and what you thought you were going to be and how that journey changed for you, because I think that's an important story to tell.
Wow. Yeah.
And you can go back further if you want. We had one of our guests go back to like 7.
Yeah, she said, when I was 7, this was what I wanted to do. The only time I've ever heard anyone say that. When I was 7, it was this, and I stuck to it.
Okay, well, I'm all about, I make history, so I'll go back further.
All right.
When I was 6. When I was 3 years old. True story, though, yeah. And it leads up to, we can flash forward back to 17. But, yeah, when I was 3, my mom died. My dad was gone before I was born. I was placed in foster care, but I was rescued. I was adopted by this amazing woman named Pearlie. She had already had 16 children of her own. But when
16.
she didn't even get a TV show, anything, right?
Wow.
What?
This is before reality TV, so she had already had 16 kids of her own. But when she adopted me, she raised me as the only child. So it was pretty cool. Looking back, I realized, it was just me and her. She didn't have much. She didn't have many resources at all, but
she had a heart.
Yeah,
heart full of love.
Yeah.
Stole the punchline. That was it, right?
Sorry.
No. I say that's good. I'm glad that it led up like that. That's what it was. I'm realizing how beneficial that was. As an adult looking back, because there are others that have different stories and might have been better resourced, but from their experience as an adult now, they're but the love was not as robust. For me, I grew up poor in Houston and didn't even really realize how extremely poor we were until later. Once I graduated high school, left my community, went to college, got exposed to some other things. And then there was like that Sixth Sense moment, or that movie, that moment in the movie when you are The Unusual Suspects.
Yes.
Like at the end when it's like, wait, oh snap! Like I was like,
it was there all
poor
along.
boy. It was there all along. I was feeling bad for people. I think they were feeling bad for me. Like, yeah. So, but yeah. So she adopted me. She was 65 years my elder. So she's 68 years old raising a 3-year-old. Fast forward, she's 78 years old raising a 13-year-old. And I was precocious. I did well in school, but I was not well behaved. So by the time I was 17, that's interesting. By the time I was 17, I caught my first charge. I was actually arrested by the FBI at 17.
Wait.
And
The
it's not,
FBI.
it's not even,
That
it's
is
not
not
even
casual
yeah,
shoplifting.
Exactly. It's not even
Correct.
What did
Yeah.
you do? Like make a nuke?
No, I was making money, right?
Right,
Like,
there you go.
in my neighborhood,
Like printing money?
look at that. You're a doctor. I don't know what type of doctor, but you're smarter than most people because you figured it out quick. Yeah, because people were like, what'd you do? I was like, I was making money. Like, what do you mean? I was like, well, why do people sell drugs? People sell drugs to make money, right?
The FBI does not care if you sell
Yeah.
drugs unless
I
it's a
know.
lot.
I know, right? But that's like, I never sold drugs. I was like, I think a little different. I'm like, what's the end goal?
He said,
Mhm.
I'll just
Just
cut right-
Jump to the
Let me
end. I
just
just
jump
want
in.
money.
let's cut the middleman. Let's
Yeah,
just-
right.
That'll apply later, right? That's not something that I share when I share about people when you mentor. Like when I mentor, and it's like, what's the real goal? Because sometimes people get caught up in the process.
Yeah.
And then get lost and feel discouraged by their progress.
Mhm.
And I'm like, but you might even be like working the wrong process. Like me, again, I just skipped to the end. I'm young, I'm precocious, didn't have many parameters in my life at this point, like didn't respect rules and whatnot. So it was like, well, people sell drugs to make money. Then why sell drugs? Like just make money. And minus a bunch of details, that's what I did. But that's a federal offense. Minus all the details, I ended up getting arrested. So at 17 years old, I caught my first case, got that, and then ended up getting probation, deferred adjudication, right? This federal charge got dropped to a state charge. They saw potential in me. And so at 17, what I was thinking was like, can I finish this probation and like just live a good life? And even before the charge, because the charge didn't really dictate my life as much because I came from a community where that was normal. Sadly,
Right.
I travel a lot. I go to some yesterday I was in Raleigh, North Carolina. I was doing an event with Nate McMillan, ex NBA player, current LA Lakers assistant coach. He's from that area. He created a foundation. They serve youth that don't have fathers and grow up in economically depressed communities. So I went out there to go perform, speak, share my story, share my book and whatnot. And I did a survey. There were like 75 young men in the room, and I asked them, who here knows somebody that's been in jail? These are all 10 to 18 years old. Who here knows somebody that's in jail or been to jail? 90% of the room raised their hand. I've been other places where I told them, I've been other places, affluent communities, and I've asked the same question, same age range, different demographic of students. And like they'll laugh and snicker like somehow I'm unaware. Like,
Wow.
like why would he ask us that question? Why would we know somebody that's been to jail?
Yeah.
Because they're unaware of like, on the other side of the world or the other side of the city, there are people. And then with those young students as well, I'm like, you're unaware that most people don't have the same circumstance that you do. And our circumstances like dictate our vision. So me, I didn't have big vision, even though I had big potential. Like I was in the gifted and talented program. I was actually living in two worlds at the same time because I grew up in the hood. I'm in my community when I'm at home. When I go to school, I get to hang around any of my friends because I'm in the gifted and talented program. So what that meant to me was like at school, I don't get to hang around my homies. And then when I'm not at school and I'm back in my hood, I don't see any of my friends from school and classes because they're from a different community, right? But it impacted me later in life. It became a benefit and an advantage because now I realize as an entrepreneur, it gives me an advantage because I can move within different rooms that I might not I can culturally connect in different rooms. Right. And so, but at 17, all I'm thinking is okay, I want to be successful, but I don't know how that's defined.
Right. Now let's go from 17 because I think this is a wonderful story. How did you navigate going from 17 to where you are now? Like, what were the was mentorship part of that, or did you like? Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah.
put any words in your mouth, but it's like,
Yeah, mentorship is a powerful thing because I was being mentored when I didn't know it.
Mm-hmm.
I just had negative mentors. Like the fact that I made choices that got me arrested is because of like personally like the media I consume, the music I listen to, the movies I watch. There's this thing called magazines. I know this is 20 like that. Like this, it's a digital age, so people don't know. But like there used to be like these physical things called magazines, and I would read them and just idolize like as I looked at the pictures, and because of what I consumed, it impacted my choices. I
Right.
made poor choices. I got poor results. But what happens is the story. I'm trying to, the bullet points of it. At 17, I get arrested. I get probation. At the same time, my grandmother, who was raising me, she passed away. She never knew I got arrested because she was sick in the hospital.
Right.
And then she passed away. If she did, she would have died of a broken heart anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I stayed with relatives for a year, graduated high school, got an academic scholarship while I was on probation, and went to the prestigious University of Texas at Austin.
Nice.
Still lacking mentorship though, right? Because I'm only being mentored by media at this point, and I don't have any positive mentors, and there's no physical person actually speaking into my life.
Right.
So I get to college because I had natural potential and talent, but plus like I got a scholarship and went to college and like never studied.
Right.
So like, why would I think now I should study when I'm in college?
Right.
That didn't work.
Yeah.
It was like Allen Iverson back in the day. Like he was like practice. But it took 3 semesters before I flunked out of school at UT, lost my scholarship, resorted to a life of crime, because what people don't often think about when you have a family or you go to college, like you still have family, you have a home to return to.
Mm-hmm.
At 20 years old, like during Christmas breaks my freshman year, I was homeless. I
Right.
had nowhere to return to. Summer break, spring, like when the campus would close. And I talk about that because I care a lot. I do a lot of work with foster youth because, you know, they're in the system and they don't have the same support.
Right.
So that's a big deal. But myself, I'm 18, 19 years old at college. Don't study, flunk out, lose my scholarship, resort to a life of crime. And by the time I'm 20, I'm convicted. I get convicted of 3 additional felonies and go to the Texas State Penitentiary.
Wow.
I go from the prestigious University of Texas at Austin to being an inmate in the Texas State Penitentiary. And at this point, if this was a movie, this is when like you cue up the Rocky music, like down to like everything changes. I start to realize I had this epiphany, like I'm here because of my choices, not my circumstances.
Right.
My circumstances are mom died, dad left, grew up poor, no support, bad community, those circumstances. But it was really my choices that put me in that position.
Right.
Just like when you run a business.
Right. Your
like,
choices put you in the bankruptcy.
come on, man. Like there's a connection with people missing on like your health, right? Like it's like life is choices. So anyway, 20 years old in prison, I'm like, wow, my choices got me here. But wait, if I change my choices, maybe I can change my life. I did the same thing that was inside of me that I've always been resilient. I've always been stubborn, hard-headed, and independent. Those are the same reasons why I'm successful as an entrepreneur. Because when people tell me what I can't do, it's like, well, I'm hard-headed. It's hard. Okay, I'm resilient. No, you can't go this way. Well, I'm going to do what I want to do anyway. That's what helps me succeed as an entrepreneur. Wish I had a mentor to tell me, these are positive traits. You're just using them wrong. But anyway, I get out of prison. I get back into the prestigious University of Texas at Austin. This time I'm on parole. That's unheard of. And ultimately graduated with a 4.0 GPA. So I go from 4 felonies to a 4.0. My last corporate job was over a decade ago. It was here in Austin at K-View.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I went to college. I'm a storyteller myself, trained storyteller. I love telling stories. That's what I got a degree in, radio, television, film.
Cool.
I worked in television, and then I realized that, okay, cool, this is good, but this is not my purpose. This is not my call, and this is not what I'm passionate about. So then I stepped away, and then that's when I became a full-time entrepreneur. And I think that's when I started to get my first, that's when mentorship became a key part of my life. And then people came alongside me and started to help guide me on a consistent basis.
So the point where you left KVU and decided to be an entrepreneur, I'm curious what did you decide to pursue? Like, I'm leaving this, I'm going to go be an artist at that point, or was it
Did you have like a
music?
side hustle and then you kind of took off, or?
Yeah, I love it. Side hustles. I know, like, maybe we're talking about Gen Z. We're talking about people in general, this like side hustle culture.
Mm-hmm.
I have strong opinions about it. Like, if it's either a distraction or it's not. If you're doing a side hustle, like I saw a video on it. We'll talk about it, right? Like somebody's like had a whole plan. Like I can do this corporately, and then I can do this thing on the side. Well, salute to that person because the side hustle was their passion.
Mhm.
But like a side hustle might be well paying,
Right.
but it could still be a distraction.
Right.
So me, I realized because I failed fast and I failed early,
Mhm.
right? Because prison was a fail.
Right.
It gave me an actual advantage. Perspective is everything. Because like there's some people that didn't fall hard to the pandemic. At that point, they're 40,
Right.
but now they're like, wow, I don't really know how to bounce back. I don't know how to. I never really thought about what it would be like if I ventured out on my own at this point or whatever it may be. But me at 20 years old, I thought I knew everything. I thought I was it. I was the man. I'm him. But I was real enough to accept as I sat in prison, like, okay, wow, I don't have this figured out.
Right.
And I don't know how to figure it out.
Mhm.
Again, insert mentorship. But myself, there weren't any side hustles. I just felt like time is too short now for me to waste time doing anything that's not like my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And the key word there would be purpose, because it was like, okay, so when I left KVU, I knew what I wanted to do.
That was where I was trying to get at. Is did you know your purpose ahead of time, or?
Yeah, I was curious, but like, how did
Mm-hmm.
you just figure, like, how did you know what it was you wanted to do?
It clicked. For me, this is how it clicked. Because there were two things, and then I combined them, and then I created something that didn't exist. Not because I wanted to be innovative, but like it's just like when you go to a restaurant and you're like, no, I want like brisket and the sausage, and they're like, we don't have a brisket sandwich. We have a brisket sandwich, sir, and a sausage sandwich. It's like, no, I want a brisket sausage sandwich, right? It's like,
Mac and cheese.
hello, right? Like I'm just making what I want. Like I'm not trying to be creative here. It's like
Right.
that's what I want, and like let's do that thing. And that's how I approached my career. Because what happened was I work at KVU. I knew I had to give back. I've always had this strong sense of like post prison, like an inherent responsibility to give back.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I realized as I was in prison is like, whoa, there were lots of people that came and spoke at me.
Right.
Keyword, spoke at me, not to me,
Right.
or got through to me, but they spoke at me. It didn't connect though. And I realized like, oh, they were just poor communicators, poor storytellers, or poor marketers,
Mm-hmm.
because they said the right thing.
Right.
They just didn't say it in a way where I heard it.
Right.
But I was the one dealing with the consequence in prison
Right.
of my choices. So now I'm like, oh, I need to make sure I go back to schools and like go volunteer and, just give back. That was like my approach to it. And it was here in Austin, and I went to Garza High School, which is on the east side. I go to that school. Shout out to Ruben Cantu, a graduate.
Ruben, yeah.
I know I had to say that because everybody knows Ruben. Like, so you have to start to understand your intuition as well. Like, even in this moment, I was like, I didn't have to say that, but I was like, I should say Ruben, right? And that's another. Like, if I was mentoring somebody, I'd tell them you have to learn, you have to develop and learn to trust your instincts,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, I heard that voice even in this moment. It was like I could have just I went to Garza High School, I went to speak, and it was like, no, say Ruben, and it's like, and it creates that response, right? And so, but yeah, Ruben Cantu, I met him. That's my great friend. We met at UT. He's from East Austin. I was sharing my vision with him at this point, and he was like, well, dude, I graduated from a school in East Austin. I'm sure I could hook it up. He hooked it up. We go to the school. I speak. I was just doing my little volunteerism give back, right? And as I'm speaking to the students, something clicked. Like, it's like, oh, wow. Like, I think this is what I'm born to do. Like, I just felt it. Okay, and then if we rewind a year earlier, is the first time I wrote a song.
Mhm.
Like, I freestyle. I think if you're from Texas, if you're in the community, the culture, like y'all probably freestyle.
Dirty South.
You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody freestyles, improv. You make up a couple bars off your head. That's what I did along with all my friends. They were real rappers. They were real artists. I was just a freestyle dude, and they were like, "No, we want you to write a verse." I'm like, "What's a verse?" And then they had to like teach me 16 bars. I'm like, what's 16 bars? And go through this whole process, and I wrote my first verse. And as I wrote my first verse, like something clicked. Like I finished it. I recorded it, and it was like, whoa, I think this is what I'm born to do, right? Like, didn't know it. It's kind of like that sausage, brisket, mac cheese sandwich. And it was like, whoa, I think we're onto something. We might start a whole food truck off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
right? It's like I don't know what happened, but it's just clicked. Okay, I think I'm supposed to do music. Okay, a year later, whoa, I think I'm supposed to speak. And then it was like, how do I do these two things? I don't know how. And then I would initially incorporate, I would go speak, but I would incorporate music into my keynotes to stand out, to engage, to make it entertaining. And then later, a few years later, it was like, wait, I think I need to like flip this. And I just need to be like the artist and incorporate the motivation in my message. And then that's when the brand Musician with the Message was born. That's how I ended up creating my own thing, my own lane. And there's power when you're doing your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love it. It's your why. And you ever read the book Start With Why?
No, I know it well though.
Simon Sinek and just incredible just insight and companies that do that, people that do that. Yeah, just everything just aligns and people and then you have people that align with you, because it's like you have a purpose, you have your why, you're very clear, here's your path, and then people start following. So
yeah, so when we start talking about the side hustles, like I think side hustles should align with why. Like it can't just be chase a check. Like there's like literally a million ways to make money. You just have to get like, I don't know, do work, Chat GPT it, figure it out. Tell Chat GPT, give you 100 ideas that align with your why if you want to do a side hustle. But yeah, I'm big on like, what's your why? What's your purpose? Like, what's your lane? How do you get in it? And then if you have financial goals around that, then figure that piece out. And then like, I think that's really the cheat code, because now you're just getting paid to be you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
love it. Really cool.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, tell us about the book.
So I have a book. It's called Be the Change. It's a story of transformation. It tells my story from transitioning from tragedy to triumph. The story I just shared. So it goes more in detail. And it's written in a very unique and succinct way. So it tells that story. And then I have a new movie coming out, a documentary. There was an initial documentary made about my journey. It was called Tower to Tower. The first tower being the prison tower. Like that's what the dude.
Tower UT.
There it is. Yeah. So yeah, Tower to Tower. But now it's 15 years later, and now there's a new docuseries, 3-part documentary that goes like, it tells like the story, it tells the music, and then it talks about the movement. 3 different parts, different names for each one. And coming up, there will be a film screening at AFS in partnership with B-Boy City. And we'll be showing a musician with the message. It'll show the story and talk about the movement, Be the Change.
So talk about, well, thank you for sharing that. I just, sometimes a question comes up and I just start speaking. So you've now 15 years into this, sounds like. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk about some of the best memories you've got from that. Some of the change you've seen, not in only yourself, but in others.
Oh yeah. And others is where it's really at. Like, who knew like mentorship would, like, because mentorship is the key to legacy, right? To a young person, I'd encourage them to, like, if you want a cheat code, I think life is about cheat codes, right? And it's like,
funny, I tell my daughter the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I got a 21-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, I know you're not trying to listen to me right now, but I'm just trying to give you the cheat codes. That's all I'm trying to do.
Like, that's it, right? Like,
I've been here.
Cheat codes, like you take it like up, down, left, right. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, people do not hate on cheat codes. Like life is about cheat codes. Contra, bam, you got 30 free lives. Let's go. So yeah, life's about cheat codes. I realized that the power is in the legacy and like the mentorship. So for a young person, the cheat code is to get a mentor, and for an established individual, yes, I know you work so hard, but like the legacy is not in your success of what you've created, but like what you pour into other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the real power. So yeah, like my best memories come from like, and my perspective is different. Like so many people speak about growing old in a negative way.
Mm-hmm.
Like they got all the joke, oh man, I'm getting old. Like, that's why I just made that joke. No, my short-term memory is not because I'm old. I just told y'all the G-rated version of my story.
Right.
That's what led to the lack of the short-term memory. But yeah, so, but I look forward to continually growing, pouring into other individuals. It's cool when people come back to me and tell me like, hey, remember me? Like you came to this location, you had a show, you said that. I heard it. I applied it to my life. This is what I do now. So like those are some of the coolest things. I mean, I had a May 17th is Be the Change Day. The
Mm.
mayor just proclaimed it,
Wow.
which is cool. It's my second day. June 12th is SaulPaul Day, but
It's my daughter's birthday.
that's a great day. Yeah. Yeah, June 12th is SaulPaul Day, but they proclaimed that like 10 years ago. And so just, 3 months ago, they proclaimed May 17th as Be the Change Day. And it's cool because it's a day of give back. The way I approached it was the city gave me a day. So I use it as a day to give back, and we inspire change all across the city and the nation. And so we hosted a festival in the park. We had hundreds of youth come out. One of the students' fathers was there, and he pulls me aside. The kid's like, "Oh, SaulPaul, take a picture. This is my mom. Can you take a picture of me and my mom?" And I go take a picture, and then his stepdad is there, and then his stepdad's like, "Hey, bro, like I think I like you came to my school when I was in middle school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like this is crazy, right? Like his kids in elementary, right? He was like, you came to my school and you said that, like, so things like that are like like momentous." And I think that I know my peers at that point, they're like, "Man, I've heard that. I'm old." And I'm like, no, like it's working,
Mhm.
right?
Wisdom.
Like, and I'm still doing it, and I'm still going hard.
Right.
Like that's my vision.
It's legacy.
If we were talking about not mentors but role models, like Calvin Broadus, like that's an inspiration. Y'all know Calvin Broadus?
No, I don't.
Okay, everybody here shook their head no. For those not visually saying it, I would like to highlight. I'm pretty sure everybody here knows who Calvin Broadus is. He was just emceeing the Olympics.
Oh,
Oh,
Snoop Dogg.
do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like Snoop's been like popping since like for 3 decades, right?
Mhm.
And not just popping. I'm like, so dude just got paid like $8 million to like hang out in France for 16 days and wear sick fits. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Just like go to the Olympics, and he's like, and like this is what I do. So like he figured it out. Like he's in his lane, he's doing his thing, and he's still going.
And I love how like his entire life has kind of been an inspiration, right? From the very beginning,
Murder
everybody
was the
loved
case that they gave him.
exactly loved it, but then he's turned to like it's just more and more positive the older he gets, right?
Yeah.
That part.
I just
Yeah.
like watching it with Martha Stewart, man. Like,
Right? Yeah, that's my deal. So yeah, that's what I'm on. That's the coolest part, is to invest in other people's lives and then see the return on it. The most recent thing that I'm really, really excited about that's cool, we launched a Be the Change tour. Because like something you mentioned earlier, like I like to say it was never about me. But this is how it clicked for me. Like there had to be a switch. Like I'm like, okay, I want to change the world. That's like my singular goal. Like literally change the world. There's 7 billion people plus on the planet. My goal is to impact 7 billion people. I go hard. I do a lot of stuff. Google me. So I do all that stuff. I'm making a lot of change and impact. And then it clicks like, wait, even if I touch like 1 million people, I'm talking about practically, not social, not through my music, not through streams, not virtually, like through live impact, which I'm personally passionate about. That's phenomenal, profound. If I touch 1 million people a year, if I did that for 50 years, I'd only touch 50 million people.
Mhm.
That's great. I don't know who else has done that, but that's not 7 billion. Like the goal is the goal.
right.
And so I started doing the math on the goal. Like I'm not going to be able to accomplish this on my own, no matter how hard I go. Side note, that'll connect with somebody with the vision that they have for their business, right? It hasn't clicked for them yet. Like you as a solopreneur, you're not going to accomplish your task. You actually have to go from a solopreneur to like a business person and manage a company, build a team and whatnot. But me, I'm trying to change the world. It clicks. Like I can't do it alone. I went to South Africa. It was my first trip a few years ago, and I was like, wow, like Mandela, who we
Mhm.
all know,
Yeah.
right? Pop icon, and that part is key. Pop icon. But I got to go to South Africa. I go to Soweto. I'm go to his home. I go to the Apartheid Museum. I had an epiphany. Like, whoa, like the Mandela of the mainstream is different than like Mandela, like Madiba. And I was like, this dude is a change maker. I fancy myself as a change maker. And I'm like, Mandela is a change maker's change maker, right?
Mhm.
I'm like, I should want to be like him when I grow up. And then I did a deep dive and studied his life. And then when I came back to the States, I studied MLK and saw him different. And I was like, these dudes are the prototype.
Mhm.
And then it made me change it led to me changing my approach, and it went from like less me and more we, and I had to figure out how I could transfer the power to the people so that the people could go do the work. And that led to, I went on a 100-city tour. I went to 100 schools in 100 cities in 32 states over 16 weeks and saw 125,000 students. Like, that was profound. And then the real twist was we had this Be the Change challenge. And the Be the Change challenge was like for the students to come up with their own volunteerism campaign, their own way to give back. They decide what their community needed and what problem that they would solve or how they would serve. And then collectively, everybody played their own part. Like, there was no minimum amount of hours. There was no maximum. It was just like, hey, you just come up with the plan. And then, like, you know, we created a platform, and they can go log on, and they could log their hours and whatnot. And then we had this moonshot goal of 50,000 hours. Like, if everybody did their part, like, maybe we can get 50,000. And the mind-blowing part is that we exceeded it. We got 60,000 hours. We kept going for another season. Then we got to 80,000. And now coming up in this next season, we look forward to like surpassing 100,000 hours by K through 12 students.
Wow.
Primarily Title I, which is a fancy way to say the ones that are in like economically depressed and poor communities.
Mm-hmm.
These are the students who are usually the benefactors of, you know, organizations and nonprofits given to them because they don't have. Yeah. And instead, they're learning what it is to be empowered, realize that they have value and that they have something to give. So yeah, that's my most recent highlight.
I love it.
That's so powerful.
There is so much alignment with all the work that we're doing and what you've done, like the vision, and we can talk more about it. But I'm just sitting here listening to you. I'm like, oh wow, I'm my fellow entrepreneur. My
I know, right?
sparking.
That's the coolest part.
Like after this, we got to talk. We got to blah 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 blah. There's all these things that we're doing. That we're gonna join on as well. Why don't we jump into some of these questions?
Let's do it.
We've got Anais talking to Gray. Gray was an A&M student, and
no bias. I'll mentor. I'll share about anyone. But, you know,
how do you see education fitting into the overall picture of what is important to you?
I'm going to college right now for the money. Obviously, I need a job. I need to have this. What my plan is to graduate in 4 or 5 years, maybe with a master's. And then with that, once I'm like really out of college and I'm on my own completely, I'll really focus on making music in my free time. And then if I can, once I already have that steady flow of income, I can maybe hopefully go back to making music and leave engineering completely. Just because what I like to do is make music, and I feel like I could be a good influence on a lot of the people that would be listening to my music or seeing me online. Yeah. And I feel like I can make a better impact on the world rather than engineering.
So someone picked this for us.
Mm-hmm.
Katie, perfect. That was alignment.
Yeah, exactly.
Katie picked this for us, and so
perfect.
She saw us. I hadn't even seen this clip, and we were actually Anais is the one that did this. That's why. But yeah, what I like about this is like he's got his passion, he's got his why. Something is telling him that he's got to do engineering, and normally what we have found through our journey, we'll talk offline about the journeys that we've experienced, but it's society. Society says you got to do this thing, right? They put you in a box.
Bottom line,
right? And parents and others, peer pressure is like, it's really the societal peer pressure says you have to do this, and it comes from a good place. The good place is we want to see you succeed, but the heart is saying, I want to do music. I'll go do this engineering thing because this is what I'm told to do, and I'll make some money, and I got to do that. He's been told that you can't make money in music, I'm sure. Right? I'm assuming just from what I'm saying is you can't make money. It's a long shot, blah, blah, blah. It's the kind of the cliche thing to say, right? You can't make money in music, blah, blah, blah. Go do engineering. That's the job. And so he's like, I'm going to go do this so then I can pursue there's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, you went into KVU and did those things before. I mean, people do that, but yeah, that's what I heard. What'd you guys hear in this?
Yeah, I don't know. I was reminded of that quote about, reasonableness gets in the way of so much, right? Then it's like, that's a completely reasonable thing to do, to go get a decent paying job, go get your master's. So you've got your IOU for a grad job, so you can take it, so you draw a salary. and then you're going to do music in the free time. And that's a perfectly reasonable job. And then you're 60 and you don't play that guitar anymore. Maybe you're jaded, or maybe it worked out. I don't know, right? Or it's like you want to go on that holiday with your friend that you always talked about. But, man, I got to get someone to help my kid. And, and you never find that week to go with your friend. Maybe next year, right? And the unreasonable thing to do is to say, I'm going, kids are going to grandma, I'm quitting the well-paying job, I'm becoming a musician. And so I don't know what the right or wrong answer is. It's really easy.
It reminds me of Gordy Quist. You guys know Gordy Quist?
Yeah. The musician.
Yeah. So Gordy Quist, name of the band.
Band of Heathens.
Band of Heathens.
I didn't even have to Google it.
Yeah. I was like, it's coming. It's not. This is like age, right? You talked about memory issues. It's like, but his story. I interviewed him for the magazine. His story was he went to school, went to Wall Street, all this, worked 1 year in Wall Street, and he was waiting for that bonus check. He knew that bonus check, but his heart was music, and it was like, so he did this journey, and heads down, knew that bonus was coming. The second, he was like, looking at that email, the second that bonus check hit for his year in bonus, quit, done, took that bonus and started his music career.
Yeah.
So, and then done well ever since.
Right.
Done really, really well ever since. So, no one knows the journey, but the heart's there. He already knows what he's going to do.
I think you made a great point. I think it's the society. Like when you ask, like what is that? He knows what he wants to do, and it's like, why do people make choices? That's societal pressure, parental pressure, peer pressure, that pressure, and then at some point it's like the pressure or the passion. And I always like to highlight, like, sometimes people will, we hear things a certain way. So it's like, I should do what I love, right, SaulPaul? I never said it. Actually, what I say is, like, you should get paid to do what you love, right? So I like to say, like, I always say, get paid to do what you love. Like, that's where if you love music, as that gentleman, that young man mentioned, right? And it's like, so you should figure out how to get paid to do what you love. But what happens is someone will be like, yeah, I hear you, man. That's what you got to do. You got to do what you love. And I'm like, that's not what I said. I didn't say do what you love.
I love smoking brisket, but I don't want to.
I said, like, get
It's
paid.
kind of Franklin, man. Like, he figured that out.
See, he figured it out.
Figured that out.
And that's the point. That's the nuance I think people miss. Like, you can do what you love, but people stop at that's what I love. I'm like, cool, but like, you got to get paid.
It makes me think of the phrase, when you love your vocation, it's a vacation. So when you are doing what you love, and
That's new. I haven't heard that one. I'm definitely going to use that one.
Please do.
I'll credit you the first 3 times.
And after that, it's fine.
And then also, shout out to you, because I'm like, I think I might write a song called Unreasonable.
Hey,
Like,
man, I was honored.
like, I love that already. Like, that's the problem when people are like trying to be reasonable.
Yeah, like
it doesn't work. Like,
doesn't
that's
work.
that's mid. That's basically mid. I don't know how up on the slang you are, but being reasonable is basically just being mid. Like, that's lukewarm and
it's just milquetoast, man. It's just average, right?
Milquetoast, yeah, exactly.
When you kept saying pressure, it made me think of how diamonds are made. Diamonds are made with pressure, right? So, whether whomever is giving you the pressure, if I did what I respect that he's thinking 5 years out, but if I did everything I thought I was gonna do 5 years out, I would be married like 7 times. I would have terrible careers. I follow my heart and everything I do, I'm learning from it, because I do have a big goal in mind, but everything is funneling into my purpose, which is to heal through humor. So
I also love alliteration. So
me too.
Heal through humor.
Yeah, and vacation.
There it is. Yeah.
You haven't read the book Unreasonable Hospitality.
This is a reading club today.
I know.
It's a great. Well,
You should have them in the lobby. So I can like leave with them, give them the gift.
These things impact, and it's about how did a restaurant become like the top restaurant in New York City within 7 years, and it was by being unreasonable. It was they just thought so outside the box and became unreasonable. There's no myth about that. So anyway,
the pessimists are normally right, but it's the optimists that change the world.
This is good. This is the best podcast or interview I've been a
Quote
part of,
drop.
I'm leaving with like nuggets. Like, okay, now I'm inspired.
You're gonna get credit for the 3 times, and then
Yeah, that's I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take one.
Yeah.
all right, let's go on to the next one. Okay, so actually,
But you all reminded us who Snoop Dogg is.
Yeah.
Like, we all
Yeah, I
know
felt
who
so
I
he
know.
dumb.
is.
I love saying.
I
I
was
just
like,
like
damn, I
saying it
don't
that
know
way
his name,
because that's
yeah.
what people don't get. Like, because I know like literally everybody on the planet for the most part, right?
100%.
like,
I mean, you say Snoop Dogg,
Everyone.
they don't speak the same language. Oh, Snoop, yeah,
Yeah.
Snoop. Say Calvin Broadus, but it's like he did that though, right? Because he's
Hey.
doing what we're talking about. He figured out how to make his
Right.
vocation his vacation.
Mhm.
He changed the world. His success is so atypical. Like on paper, it should not make sense.
Well, and it's like what's so impressive as well, right? It's so complete that he can go to the Paris Olympics dressed up in like
the
did you see
nines.
the
I
one where he
love
was
it.
doing like dressage and he like goes
Ugh.
in like the jockey suit and he looked
Yeah.
good, man. Like
He always looks good. He always looks good.
where he's like
Yeah.
cooking shows with Martha Stewart and people are like, I'd watch that.
I was
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Like, hey, I want to see
it just
that.
makes it like I want to see it. I
Yeah.
want to see
Yeah.
this.
Snoop Dogg did. Snoop
And then
Dogg's
the
at the
cheat code.
Olympics. Oh, I'll watch just for that. Like,
the cheat code, I think that we figured out in hip hop. Well, nobody figured it out. It's like you just do it, but then it translates in every other culture and community is authenticity,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like,
Yeah.
because he's authentic. Like, because there are others as well, and it's like that's what's so cool about hip hop. It's like everybody else was wearing a Tom Ford suit, and whoever it was sneakers and jeans. Like, how did he do that? Like, well, that's authentic. It wasn't
Mhm.
trying to be cool. Wasn't trying to be
Right.
different. It's like that's just the authenticity. And so for all the young people listening as well, like that becomes part of it. Because otherwise, we're trying to fit in boxes. And then at some point it clicks. It's just usually later in life when somebody, like you mentioned, 60-year-old. That's when the person says, "I did it the way they told me to do it." And then finally, for it takes like at 60, they figure out like, wow, and it still didn't work. Like
Yeah.
I held my breath and waited for my turn, and I'm realizing they don't give turns out. Like so, you kind of have to make your way.
yeah, it took half my life before I realized that life is a DIY project. Like ain't no hand of God is coming down to pluck you out and
Mhm.
give you that thing you want. You got to do it yourself.
That's it.
Half your life.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying 5. Maybe that's the
I
pessimist.
was gonna say pessimist.
All right.
Eh,
It took 10%
half
of
my
my
life, I was
it took
17.
10% of my life.
I was a junior. Stop it. That's good, Mark. You were a junior in high school. You didn't pay rent? Okay.
All right, let's jump into this next one. This is gonna be. I know I'm gonna enjoy this clip because I was there. William over at ACC.
How did they end up finding the path that they did? Like, did they have, like, other than like having someone that probably helped like them access like this little thing, like what would they recommend me to start? Like, what would their starting point recommendation be? Like, go to college, maybe find some people who already know who already like do professional singing, maybe ask them if they can help me like have a jumping off point to where I could start singing professionally.
Amazing
That's
young
so
man.
precious.
Amazing young man. That actually I was there.
Yeah.
Natalie was asking the question, and he was in theater.
Yeah, he wanted to, become a professional musical theater artist.
Yeah. And so we go there and it's like, if this is a genie, you got 3 wishes, meet 3 people. Who would they be? What would you ask them? That kind of stuff, right? And so kind of put their mind in this like, all right, here's what I'd ask. And so I think this podcast is going to be, goes back and listens to this podcast. He's like, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. So since he's talking about music, well, I'm going to look at you. What would you jump him up?
Man, what good
if-
coincidence.
If you had to
that
start,
this
if you had to
one
start
came up.
over, how would you start in music? Would you go to college? How would you jump your career?
One, get clear on the vision. Like that's really key. Like what is the vision? And then 2, I'm jumping like, how do you get paid to do it? People ask me all the time, like I realize the rare air that I'm in because not only do I make a living as a musician, like I make a good living. I used to do my own taxes. And when you do that, you realize there's a code that you have to put in when they're like, what's your occupation? I was like, want to write rapper. A long time ago, right? I was like numerical, like, okay, I'm a musician. I'm an artist. Okay, let me look in the back of this thing. Let me find the number, 6-digit code. Okay, cool. And then I'm into data science and whatnot. I was like, let me look this up. Average income of a musician I don't know it offhand, but it's like something absurd, like maybe 27,000.
Yeah, it ain't a lot.
Yeah, like it's absurd, like some absurd, like 20. Like, wait, no, when you say musician, people think Taylor Swift just did like 750 million on the European leg of the tour. That's what
Right.
people are thinking, right? They're thinking, when I mentioned Snoop earlier, and people were counting his pockets, so we know how much he got paid $500,000 a day, $500,000 a day for the each of the 16 days, right? That's what people think when they think artist and musician. And it's like, yeah, but no, like average. So that means that's the median, right? So like 27 is in the middle. So you're saying that's probably like some making 20,000 on the high end. People are doing 34,000,
There's a lot of people on.
right? Yeah, right. So it's kind of like, so all those are the outliers. So I was like, that's not gonna work for me, but I love it. Yeah, that reaction was like, whoa, like that's not gonna work. So then it made me approach it like differently. Like I cannot approach this average. I can't do what's normal. I need to figure out how to I have financial goals. And so I think when many people think about it, that young man and anybody else, like nobody's trying to like do it mid. Nobody's trying to do it milk toast. Like you can say I want to be a singer, I want to be a producer, I want to be an engineer, I want to do this, I want to do that. What are the other things you want? I want a nice house. I want a family. I want this type of car. I want to be able to take that trip. Okay, well, because if you're an artist, you're an entrepreneur. Right. At the end of the day, cool. So like your 401k is like on you. Like your vacations are on you. So how do you like fund all that? So yes, you can sing well, but how do you like fund those other things? So then it goes back to like, so what are your financial goals? I don't need to make $2 million a year. I want to make $200,000. Cool, let's start there. Let's figure out how you'll make $200,000 a year as a opera singer or as a musical theater singer, as a producer, as an engineer. All of a sudden you realize, well, if I'm an engineer and I just want to like make music and like so the artist's vision can be represented. Okay, I get it. And I want to make $200,000 a year. Yeah, so you might not do like indie rap. You might not do indie artists.
Right.
Like I can't mix indie artists because their budget, their project, they charge. Like their project budget, it doesn't add up. I need to get around some artists that could do this, or I need to work with companies and do that. Like it'll change the vision and the approach. So like I usually bring that. Like parents ask me, like, what should I tell my child? They want to be supportive. I tell them like, take business classes, because like, don't get me going, because like the music part is usually natural. Like it's a gift, it's a talent. Like you don't go to college to become a comedian. Like you're funny, right? Like so the humor is there already. So I don't really need to study it. I can study that. But what if I suck at business?
Right.
I'm really funny, but I suck at business. So if you just polish your craft, you'll just be a very great poor comedian.
Right.
You know, it's like you're great though. Or if you're an artist, like you're great though, but you're broke. You know, it's like so like where do you get the money? And then otherwise it's, well, I need to build a team around me. I mean, if you want to give that away.
Yeah.
Like so it depends, like what's personality type. So I always tell people think about that because that's the part they don't tell you.
I love that. That we're singing the same thing. I say that, so one of the things that I did, had a financial planning business. I still have that. In that, I'll tell you the story later about how all this was born. But I talked to many families, and the disconnect between like the parent and the kid as far as what they want to do in life. And one of the disconnects I often saw was they wouldn't, in financial planning, everything's outcome based. Like, when do you want to retire? Where do you want to retire? All these things that you all have these outcomes that you think at first, so you teach this stuff. But the one thing that wasn't outcome based is, what do you want to do for life? And think about what that's going to pay you, right? Because some people say, I want to be a teacher. Awesome. It's amazing to be a teacher.
Right.
Actually, my daughter said this to me when she was like 14. I said, that's great. I respect it, love it, everything else. Let's do a budget and let's figure out if that's going to support your lifestyle. So we did that. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
The next day, she's like, I don't want to be a teacher. And it wasn't that she doesn't want to be. It's just like, it's that it didn't fit her lifestyle that she wanted. So she figured out other things. So it just, having those decisions at the very, very beginning,
you're exactly
before
right.
you put all that money in. Sometimes people spend $100,000 to get a $30,000 year job. And so you want to make sure that you avoid those pitfalls.
And then I want to challenge, or not challenge, but because what people hear, I just learned about people so much. So what some people heard there is like, yeah, and that's why I can't do this thing because they don't get paid enough. Okay, that just means you don't got hustle. So, or strategy, or you don't care enough to make that happen. Like you could do it. Like there's a teacher there's literally a teacher just to give that hope to somebody, but it's more hard work. Let the hard work
Right.
be the weed out, because there's a teacher that's like, I love kids. I love Title I kids, like the worst of the worst.
Right.
I'm only gonna get paid $42,000. That's what I love. But my lifestyle is I like splurging. I gotta take 6 trips a year, like all during the summer when I'm on vacation for 3 months because I'm a teacher and I'm going overseas, right? So I need more money than 42,000. So then they realize they're so great. They start a
They sell after
LMS,
school
right?
programs.
Yeah, they sell after school programs online that they recorded.
Right.
And they're like, I'm here teaching these kids, and I made 10 more sales today.
Yep.
And I can show the social proof because on my social, they see the kids actually love me. And there are other teachers that don't have my natural skill.
Right.
Like, how do you get kids to like listen to you and like you? And they're like, and I'm in the lane, and all I do is go to my school, teach kids, make money, not a random side hustle, like just doing the
It's
thing that I
aligned.
love. I'm
Aligned.
basically a star in my space
I love it.
and still getting
Yep.
money. And that's how people have to approach it versus like, it doesn't pay what I think I want to make. And so
I love that you
approach.
clarified the story that way, because I've been trying to express, and you've just done a much better job than I've in the past. People think I'm anti doing that. No, I'm not. I'm just
It's just gonna
outcome,
require more from you.
I'm
Yeah.
just outcome based. And if you still want to do that, let's just work exactly
Yeah.
what you said. So
Yeah. No.
What do they say? Millionaires always have like 6 forms of income, at least. Or wealthy
Yeah.
people.
6 streams. They say.
Yeah.
They like that word stream for whatever.
Yes,
reason.
stream.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm like,
it's
They
because
tie
it
it in.
continues as a stream. No,
Yeah.
and that's a great idea. Like at the end of the day, I've, early in my career, put everything into one business, and overnight it was gone. And I was like, talk about a life change. And so from that moment on, I vowed never to have one stream of income. Thanks for being here. It's been a great show.
Where can we find you? And I would like to read your book, and tell us about the water before we sign off, please.
I love it. That's your copy. That's your water as well.
Thank you.
You just have to tell me what you think about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd be glad to.
But so the book, so I'm easy to find. My name is SaulPaul, SaulPaul. Everything is SaulPaul. So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, SaulPaul, LinkedIn, SaulPaul. I have a website. It's SaulPaul.com. The most challenging thing is my email, because my email is it's SaulPaul@SaulPaul.com.
Challenging.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And if all else fails and it's like, I remember nothing except his name,
Nothing.
just Google SaulPaul and you will get where you want to be.
Tell us about this amazing support system you have in the room.
Yeah. From the beginning, teamwork makes the dream work. You got to find or synergy. I want to keep it short, otherwise I talk about the Venn diagram. But I won't keep it short. I'll just talk about the Venn diagram, which I love, right? Like
I love a Venn
where the
diagram.
circles overlap.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's that spot,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's about like, what's your circle? What's this other person's circle? Where do they overlap? Dr. Bianca Neal is the executive director of the SaulPaul Foundation. We met quite some time ago at the University of Texas when she was getting her master's. That's before she got her doctorate. But we had the same vision. I was an artist, and I wanted to make films to touch young people. She was a filmmaker who loved music and wanted to create content and films to touch young people and in positive ways. And so from the beginning, we started an organization called Reroute.
Cool.
We ventured out, we touched young people's. And as we've grown, all the ventures I've been a part of, she's always, she's been there with me. And I was smart, so I noticed that she was really dope. So then I wifed her, as they say in hip hop.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yay.
Very
Love
cool.
that.
Teamwork makes the dream work. You gotta don't get side hustles that distract you. If you got a hustle on the side, just try to figure out how to make it in line with what you do. And then when you build your team, you don't have to all have the same purpose,
Mm-hmm.
or you don't have to all have the same passion, but it is key that you have the same vision. And so we've always had the same vision. We have different skill sets, and I just noticed it flows together well. And that's a technique I've used to build my team out as well. I get people that have skills that I don't have, but have the passion, purpose, and vision that I do have. And then they're self-motivated, and then we get to make the biggest impact.
Love
it. So aligned.
So good.
Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, SaulPaul.
Thank y'all.
That's a wrap for today's episode of Founding Up's Uncharted, Your Sidekick for Life. A huge thank you to SaulPaul for sharing his remarkable journey and insights. From his early struggles to becoming a force for positive change, SaulPaul's story reminds us that it's never too late to rewrite your narrative. Remember to check out his book, Be the Change, and explore his work at SaulPaul.com. That's SaulPaul.com. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs a little inspiration today. If you would like to participate as a Gen Z guest or a mentor, visit our site at foundingup.com or check out the show notes. And as always, keep pushing forward, stay curious, and don't be afraid to explore the uncharted.